She abandoned me for her lover, causing my grandma Helen to be hit by a car and killed while chasing after her. When I had a 104 degrees Fahrenheit fever, she cursed at me, faking illness for sympathy. She even made bodyguards hold me down, forcing me to give a blood transfusion to her lover. After I reported them to the police and provided evidence exposing them, she was disowned by her family and lost her job. Later, covered in wounds and dressed in rags, she begged me to take her in and give her work. I flatly refused. Now she's had a mental breakdown and is living on the streets. Victoria was my boss, and we were fundamentally from two different worlds. It was only because her childhood sweetheart needed a blood transfusion after a car accident, and I happened to be a match, that I caught her attention. That time I saved Julian. Victoria looked at me and smiled gently for the first time, asking me what I wished for. I told her I wanted to be in a relationship with her. After the transfusion, I was dizzy and disoriented, unconsciously blurting out my true feelings to that face. Victoria was silent for a few seconds, then agreed, and that relationship lasted for 3 years. This year, the Shen family pressured her to marry, and Victoria didn't want to be lectured by them, so she got engaged to me. I knew it was just a formality, but unexpectedly, Julian fainted at this critical moment. I pulled Victoria. "Don't go, there are doctors at the hospital. If you miss our engagement banquet, what will I do?" "Ethan, don't be so selfish. Being able to get engaged to me is already a blessing from your past life. Don't ask for anything more." She shook me off and ran out, and Grandma Helen immediately rushed after her. "Victoria, please, just finish the ceremony with him before you leave." I froze for a moment. The next second, I heard screams from outside. Someone's been hit. When I rushed out, Victoria's car was already far away. Grandma Helen lay in a pool of blood, surrounded by people. In that moment, I truly broke down. I couldn't hear anything. All I could see was Grandma Helen lying motionless until the ambulance arrived, and I was pushed into the vehicle and taken to the hospital. "I'm sorry for your loss. We did everything we could." The doctor's words echoed in my ears. I sat in the hallway, clutching the death certificate in my hand, feeling completely numb. It wasn't until a jarring ringtone sounded that I snapped back to reality. It was Victoria. She harshly ordered me, "Ethan, where are you? Get to the hospital now. Julian needs your blood." A surge of anger flared within me. I flatly refused. "Screw you. Victoria, I'm done with you. Don't you dare come bothering me again." There was a sudden silence on the other end. Then she said coldly, "Ethan, your temper is getting worse. It's just an engagement. Julian is practically dying." "Then let him die. He's sick all the time, just wasting space on Earth." I hung up the phone immediately, then went to the police station. Grandma Helen was hit, and the perpetrator's family contacted me, begging for my forgiveness, but I refused. The main culprit was Victoria and Julian, that crazy pair. How could I have been so foolish to get entangled with her in the first place? Knowing perfectly well that she and Julian had a relationship spanning over a decade, I still wouldn't give up. Now I'm suffering the consequences of my own actions. Grandma Helen, I'm sorry. I truly regret it. I got up and carefully put away the death certificate, about to make arrangements for Grandma Helen's funeral, when I unexpectedly saw Victoria approaching with bodyguards. "Ethan, stop him." I turned and ran, calling the police as I ran. No matter how rich Victoria was, she couldn't be above the law. What if I just refused the transfusion? What could she do to me? It's just an Rh-negative blood type. I'm not the only one with it in the world. Victoria, I'd like to see if your childhood sweetheart can survive without me. But before I could even leave the hospital entrance, I was tackled to the ground. The bodyguards caught up and pinned me down. "Where do you think you're going, punk? It's your honor to donate blood to Julian, and you're still ungrateful." I couldn't break free, so I shouted angrily, "I don't agree. You can't disregard the law. Let me go." "Victoria, you're breaking the law." Victoria walked up from behind me, her heels clicking as she stopped in front of me. "Ethan, what's with all the drama? It's not the first time. Why are you being so dramatic?" She waved her hand, and the bodyguards took me to a hospital room. I was pinned down, unable to move, watching helplessly as my bright red blood was drawn. On the hospital bed next to me, Julian looked at me, his face pale. "I'm so sorry to bother you again." I bit my lip tightly, then turned my head. "This is the last time. I won't let you get away with this again. Victoria, we're over." Victoria frowned with displeasure. "What's with all the fuss? Saving a life is a truly noble deed. You saved him. I won't treat you badly. I scoffed. Treat me badly. Victoria, who do you think you are? Someone untouchable and above everyone else. I've told you already. We're over. Don't ever come looking for me again. I took a deep breath, feeling an unbearable pain in my heart. Grandma Helen's funeral arrangements haven't even been made yet. I truly regretted it. I never wanted to have anything to do with her again in this lifetime. After the blood transfusion was complete, my head felt light and fuzzy. Just as I was about to close my eyes, footsteps sounded from outside. Who called the police? I immediately called out. It was me. Victoria looked incredulous. Ethan, you actually called the police. I slowly stood up, looking at the police officer. They forced me to give blood, and these doctors forged my signature without my consent. I demand that they be held accountable. Grandma Helen is gone, and she's still lying in the morgue. All of these people are accomplices, and I won't let a single one of them off the hook. Victoria's face immediately fell. However, wealthy people have their ways. She was out in less than an hour. Her expression, though, remained grim. She was warned inside, and signed an agreement. She also wrote me an apology letter. I held it in my hand. It was like my safeguard. If she dared to come near me again, I wouldn't hesitate to make her a viral sensation. Outside the police station, Victoria's face was livid. She glared at me and said fiercely, Ethan, you've really grown some nerve. I shrugged. Victoria, let me remind you of something. You just have some money. This was just a lesson. Next time, no. There won't be a next time between us. Victoria snapped angrily. Ethan, don't you dare regret this. Are you kidding me? Could I possibly regret it? Meeting Victoria was the biggest regret of my life. If time could rewind, I would never have gotten involved with her again. Back at the hospital, all the medical staff who had forced me to give blood were dealt with. The dean apologized to me, begging for forgiveness. I didn't say anything. I just took all the records of my blood transfusions from the past few years. I also saw Julian's blood type. It was indeed a rare blood type. However, his medical report showed him to be much healthier than I had imagined. I secretly took a picture when they weren't looking, then went to handle Grandma Helen's funeral arrangements. I buried her ashes in the suburban cemetery. Only after everything was done did I return home. I had my own rental apartment in Silverwood. I had only packed my things and moved in there because of the engagement. Now that everything had settled down, I wanted to resume a normal life. As soon as I had finished everything, I lay down and saw dozens of texts on my phone. They were all from Victoria. Ethan, are you serious? Come back right now, and I'll forgive you. What's with the act? You just want to see me humble myself. I've already apologized. What more do you want? It's just a few tubes of blood. Why are you making such a big deal out of it? Seeing these, I grimly took screenshots and saved them all, hoping they'd come in handy someday. Then casually blocked her. To my surprise, Victoria wouldn't give up. The next day, I saw her at my doorstep, with Julian by her side. What are you doing here? Julian said he wanted to thank you, so I brought him over. Ethan, just let it go. Even after all this, she could still say something like that. I scoffed. What? Am I supposed to bow down and thank him? Victoria, do you have no regard for the law? Get out, or I'll call the police. Victoria flared up. Ethan? At that moment, Julian spoke up. Ethan, don't be angry. I know you're upset about the engagement. It's my fault, all my fault. My health is just anyway. If you're angry, just hit me. As Julian spoke, a hint of smugness and provocation flickered in his eyes. I looked at him, recalling everything that had happened, and without hesitation, I punched him. Ethan, are you insane? Victoria rushed over and pushed me aside, then quickly helped Julian up. What? Didn't he say to hit him? Now you're feeling sorry for him. Get out. I pointed toward the door, telling her to get out, and Victoria raised her hand and slapped me hard. Are you done making a scene? What do you want? Would your Grandma Helen approve of you acting like such a scoundrel? I'd like to ask her how she raised you. A sharp pain shot through my heart, and I almost couldn't breathe. How dare you bring her up? My Grandma Helen passed away on the very day of our engagement. Victoria, if you want to see her, then go die. I grabbed Victoria and pushed her out. Victoria became furious. Ethan, even if you hate me, you don't have to curse your own Grandma Helen, do you? I see your true colors now. Ignore him. Let's go. I watched their retreating backs, clenching my fists. My Grandma Helen had just passed away. How dare they come here and rub salt in my wounds? That despicable woman and rotten man. They'll get what's coming to them. Just wait. I won't let them off the hook. I met up with some friends. When they heard about Grandma Helen, they immediately became indignant. Ethan, why didn't you say something sooner? I gave a bitter smile. I was forced to give blood. And she still got away scot-free. Unless we're absolutely certain, we can't act rashly. And I'm truly tired. 3 years of a relationship, I ruined my own happiness, and I also cost Grandma Helen her life. If it weren't for me, Grandma Helen wouldn't have left. My friend patted my shoulder. Just say the word, and we'll help you. Ethan, Victoria isn't the decision maker in the Shen family either. She's so young. She's only out gaining experience. Let's think this through carefully. I nodded and discussed strategies with my friends. I understood Victoria. She wouldn't give up easily. After all, I was still a blood bank to her. She wouldn't let me go. After Victoria left, Julian still vowed Victoria. Why don't I go talk to him again? No need. Don't bother with him. She felt a bit uneasy indeed. She hadn't seen Grandma Helen these past few days. Ethan shouldn't be lying. Just then, the hospital called. Are you a family member of Helen Zhang? Helen Zhang's belongings were left in the emergency room. When would it be convenient for you to pick them up? Victoria's mind went blank. She was completely stunned. What did you say? Belongings? Yes. Helen Zhang passed away in a car accident on July 6th. Are you her family member? Victoria didn't know how to answer. She just looked up. Julian, standing nearby, grew nervous. Victoria, let's go back. I don't feel so well. Victoria nodded, pulled her gaze away, and turned to leave with him. After I parted ways with my friends, I went back and stayed up all night preparing a presentation. It contained all the blood transfusion records from the past few years, as well as the reasons why Victoria and I were together. Over the next 3 days, I also contacted Victoria's clients. My being insignificant didn't matter. It was just that Victoria's recent projects all had issues. She kept it hidden, planning to make up for it after the projects started. I put all my effort into it and dug up all the weaknesses of those projects. The clients didn't believe me at first, but after my analysis, they fell silent and just said they'd consider it. Once the seed of doubt was planted, I wouldn't need to do anything further. Others would naturally take care of it. After all this was done, 3 days had passed. I had barely slept these past few days. On the 4th day, as soon as I opened my door, I saw Victoria standing at the entrance. Her face was pale. I was about to retort. Just as I was about to speak, my vision went black, and I fainted. When I woke up again, I saw Victoria sitting beside me. Her eyes were bloodshot. Seeing that I was awake, she quickly leaned over and reached out to feel my forehead. It's okay now. Your fever has finally gone down. Just as I was about to speak, I felt a sharp pain in my throat. I turned my head to look at the water on the nightstand. Victoria realized and quickly brought me water, but accidentally spilled it on me. I sighed. I'm so sorry. She quickly apologized. I shook my head without saying anything, forced myself to sit up and pushed her away, then took the water and drank a mouthful. I had always been the one taking care of Victoria. How would she know how to take care of me? In her eyes, I, the patient, was as tough as nails. When I was sick before, Victoria had held my hand and was about to speak, but the next second, Julian called her away. That time I had a 104 degrees Fahrenheit fever, and my whole body ached unbearably. I wanted her to stay with me, but she said, "Don't be so dramatic. Just take some fever reducers and you'll be fine." If Grandma Helen hadn't come to see me that time and called an ambulance for me, I probably would have died at home without anyone knowing. Seeing her flustered state now, I took a sip of water to clear my throat and said coldly, "Why are you here?" Victoria finally reacted and said in a low voice, "I'm sorry. I only just found out about Grandma Helen's situation." You don't need to say anything else. My Grandma Helen's death was caused by you. I never want to see you again in this lifetime." Victoria grew desperate. "What do I need to do for you to forgive me?" "I'll do anything." Seeing her like this, I sneered. "Want to atone? Fine. First, make Julian return all the blood I gave him. Then, publicly admit to your affair with Julian, and I'll forgive you." Hearing this, she immediately stood up. "Julian and I are just ordinary friends. Why do you think that of me? Can't do it? Then don't come near me." Victoria stood rooted to the spot, biting her lip tightly. She knew I meant what I said, and I would absolutely hold her responsible for Grandma Helen's death. There was no way I could forgive them. I lay back and waved my hand, signaling her to leave. Victoria stood there for a long time, but I ignored her. Helpless, she finally left. Just then, my phone chimed. It was a message from Julian. Ethan, is the pity play fun? How old are you to still be pulling such stunts? Without hesitation, I sent him a picture of Victoria's back. What can I do? She's still obsessed with me. I already broke up with her, and made it clear at the police station that day, but she just won't let go. What should I do? Julian, how do you plan to make a scene this time? Are you going to fake illness or pretend to commit suicide? Julian was immediately furious. He sent me a 3-minute voice message, which I didn't even open. I knew it wouldn't be anything good. Not long after, I saw him in the hospital room. Seeing him chase me out like that, I couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. Feeling better. Not staying in the hospital anymore? His face was full of resentment. Ethan, you must be very pleased, aren't you? Victoria actually said she wants to completely break up with me. I shrugged. Really? That's a shame. I thought she truly loved you. Who would have thought you'd still be abandoned? Hearing that, his face instantly darkened. Ethan, you just wait. I shrugged. Whatever. You're constantly in and out of the hospital. Do you think the Shen family would be happy to see you like this? If this gets out, will the Shen family destroy you? Oh, right. I forgot. I still have the police report from last time. If you want to be a viral sensation, it'll help you achieve it. Julian's face instantly darkened. He and Victoria were indeed childhood sweethearts, but the Chen family's fortunes declined. He later went abroad. I wasn't sure what kind of life he lived abroad, but after he returned, Victoria somehow rekindled her old flame with him, and later, she went to extreme lengths for him. Victoria wasn't stupid for her to act this way. Julian must have some tricks up his sleeve, however. Julian would never truly be together with her. She could get engaged to me, and yet she didn't choose Julian. From this, it was clear that the Shen family would absolutely never accept Julian. I said all this just to provoke him. Julian's face was grim. Ethan, Victoria is mine. Just you wait. I rolled my eyes. He turned and stormed off in anger, and I wanted to wait and see what kind of tricks he had up his sleeve. I didn't know what Victoria was thinking. After I cursed her out that day, she didn't come back for a long time. After my fever subsided, I took some medicine and finally went home. For 7 consecutive days, Victoria didn't appear. I thought they had finally settled down, but unexpectedly, Julian unleashed a major move. He posted a photo on social media, under dim lighting. He was holding a woman whose back was completely bare. The atmosphere was ambiguous, and their poses were provocative. Even without seeing her face, I still recognized her. The ring on the woman's finger was the very ring from our engagement day. Victoria was actually with him. Julian also captioned it, "Childhood sweethearts, over a decade of entanglement, finally complete at this moment." It caused a massive uproar. There were many netizens with eyes as sharp as mine. They quickly recognized it was Victoria in an instant. The news spread like wildfire among netizens. I remember Victoria was already engaged, wasn't she? But the engagement wasn't to you, was it? It was to Ethan, right? So he was an employee of our company, who later caught the young lady's eye. They were already engaged. So why are they taking photos like this? What kind of mess is this? Victoria and Julian are childhood sweethearts. Sure enough, their bond proved too strong. So she's still a home wrecker. Even after he was engaged, she wasn't satisfied. This is clearly a home wrecker. Some netizens even dug up the news of my grandma Helen's death on that very day. Poor Ethan, getting engaged only to become all alone. If I were him, there's no way I'd let that despicable pair off the hook. So that's how it is. How outrageous. And they had the nerve to go public. The news spread too quickly online. The Shen family's company stock plummeted, falling repeatedly. I didn't even need to do anything. Julian became a thorn in their side. Victoria was overwhelmed with problems. Within 2 days, she was photographed looking utterly haggard, and was even cornered by shareholders. Kick someone when they're down. Victoria probably hadn't expected that Julian would publicly release the photos without consulting her, and that she herself didn't even know what state she was in when they were taken. There was a time when Victoria and I were together, and not just photos, even a picture of our backs would immediately trigger Julian's illness. His explanation to me was that he couldn't see us being intimate, otherwise I'd have an attack. I didn't understand how a tall, well-built man could be so physically weak. Only later did I realize he was faking it, because when I wasn't around, he would always provoke me, and even shamelessly boast that he was just faking illness when he wasn't sick. It was true that he had an Rh-negative blood type, but his body wasn't as frail as we perceived. Yet he always managed to convince Victoria that he was fragile and unable to care for himself. Once, I jokingly told Victoria that Julian, being so easily pushed over, would never recover in this lifetime. Victoria became furious upon hearing this, accusing me of cursing him, and saying I had ill intentions. I was speechless. To Victoria, Julian was a fragile young master whose family fortunes had declined, and anyone could bully him. As for what Julian was like behind the scenes, Victoria simply turned a blind eye. The more I spoke, the less she believed me. She even sympathized with his family's declining fortunes, and advised me to let go of the past and be more generous. She even said that if it hadn't been for Julian back then, I would never have been able to latch onto the Shen family's influence. Indeed, I admitted, however, after 3 years of entanglement, I had completely given up hope. At that moment, I gathered my things, intending to go to the company, to resign. Then I could find a new job on my own. I was still at the Shen family's company. Now that we were completely separated, I didn't want any further contact with her. When I arrived at the company, I saw Victoria from a distance. She was on the phone in the lobby. "Mr. Davis, there's no problem with our company. If you just wait 2 more days, it will definitely be fine." "Mr. Davis?" I didn't know what was said on the other end of the line, but Victoria's face was livid with anger. Seeing me, she hung up the phone and immediately came forward. "Why are you here? Let's go upstairs and talk." I knew it. "You still care about me, Ethan. The company is in a precarious situation right now. You'll definitely help me, won't you?" Her eyes were full of anticipation. I shook my head. "Ms. Shen, who am I to do that? I'm here to resign." Before coming, I had already packaged and sent out the presentation. Victoria probably didn't know yet that she had no choice left. Insufficient cash flow. A crumbling public image. Victoria was at a dead end. Victoria was instantly shocked. "Resign? Ethan, are you kidding me?" I looked at her and said bluntly, "I'm not kidding, Ms. Shen. Please move aside." Victoria stared at me in disbelief. You hate me that much?" I didn't speak. Victoria pulled me into the elevator. "Ethan, you're the only one who can help me now. Will you help me clarify things? There's really nothing going on between him and me." Her words, however, confused me. "Ms. Shen, please have some self-respect. I told you from the start I wouldn't get involved with either of you again. Therefore, we have nothing to do with each other." Hearing this, Victoria immediately grew anxious. She grabbed my hand. "Nothing happened between him and me. That day, he said my ring was beautiful, and wanted to borrow it as a reference for a custom order. I lent it to him without thinking, but I never expected him to find a stand-in. He's ruined me so badly. Only you can help me now. I'll marry you. From now on, I'll definitely treat you well." She spoke with such sincerity that I was almost moved. Unfortunately, it was too late. I still refused. "I'm sorry, Ms. Shen. I'm not part of your game. You and Julian are childhood sweethearts. Isn't it better now? At least no one opposes you being together. You gave him endless hopes. You also gave him the courage. That's why he dared to do this." With every word I spoke, Victoria's face grew a shade paler. "Victoria, we've been together for 3 years. In these 3 years, you had countless opportunities to go public with me. But you didn't. Instead, you used the pretense of friendship to do everything a couple would do with him. You repeatedly belittled me for him. Ask anyone in the company, everyone can see clearly. I don't want to say anything more. This is all your own doing. Besides, there's still a life between us." The elevator doors opened. I shook her off and went straight to the HR department to submit my resignation. I had already taken so many days off and didn't want to continue working there. Submitting my resignation now, especially with the company in such a precarious state. I wasn't the only one leaving. The HR department quickly signed off on it, but it stalled when it reached Victoria. I knew she was doing it on purpose, but it was just a resignation. I merely informed her. She couldn't stop me from leaving. I didn't have anything to hand over. After gathering my personal belongings, I turned and left. I even cleared out everything from my company desk. Seeing me do this, Victoria forcibly pulled me into her office. "Ethan, do you really have to resign at a time like this?" I took a deep breath and smiled at her. "Don't push me. The truth is, we both know perfectly well. You're pulling me in now just to use me as your shield. Victoria, let's part on good terms. Worst case, you go public anyway. You and Julian are already like this." "Why?" Victoria, losing her composure, exclaimed. Can't you stand firmly by my side? I told you. I don't want him. Why won't you believe me? I turned my head, scoffing at her. Did you ever stand firmly by my side? At that, her face was completely drained of color. Ignoring her awful expression, I simply walked away. Behind me, I heard a thud. I turned to look, and saw Victoria collapsed on the floor, her face ashen. I smiled. Victoria. She looked up at me, her eyes lighting up. I shook my phone. I left you a gift, make sure to check it. Victoria froze. After I left, she immediately let out a scream, hysterical. I scoffed. This is karma. Victoria was suspended from her position. The company officially issued an apology statement, stating that everything was Victoria's personal issue, and had nothing to do with the company. When I saw all this, I knew that Victoria had been abandoned by the Shen family. As for Julian, the main culprit, he was severely dealt with by the Shen family. This time, he was truly physically weak and couldn't get up. When I heard this news, I was at the cemetery, visiting Grandma Helen's grave. I didn't know when Victoria had arrived. After a period of not seeing her, she had lost a lot of weight, her hair was cut short, and there was a scar on her face. Compared to her former glamorous and radiant self, she was like a completely different person. It took me a while to recognize her. Victoria looked at me with a bitter smile. I've received my comeuppance. This time, I just want to hear you say it. Do you really hate me, and have no lingering feelings for me at all? A relationship between us was long impossible. After Grandma Helen passed away, my last shred of lingering feeling for Victoria vanished. At this point, I would never get involved with her again. Seeing my cold and distant gaze, Victoria staggered 2 steps back. She looked at me, then helplessly slipped off the ring on her hand and gave it to me. I glanced at it, took the ring, thought for a moment, then threw it by the roadside. Victoria's body swayed, and she finally burst into tears. Just as I was leaving, she tugged at my sleeve, pleading, "Ethan, if I get married, will you come and stop the wedding?" I found it laughable. No, I'm not that pathetic. Leaving those words behind, I walked away. I didn't know why she said that, but I soon got my answer. To appease public outrage, the Shen family simply stated that my engagement with Victoria had long been cancelled, and that Julian and Victoria's wedding date had already been set. The two of them took wedding photos together, and publicly flaunted their affection on their official social media account. They even rented out a giant screen in a bustling area to play Julian's proposal video 24 hours a day. It was impressive how quickly they came up with a strategy, making everyone marvel at Julian's romance and thoughtfulness. Julian smugly sent me an invitation. "Ethan, I got her. This round. I won." I smiled. "Then I wish you to grow old together, keep a close eye on her, and whatever you do, don't follow my path." I didn't go to his wedding that day, but my former colleagues attended. Apparently, the Shen family required all employees to be present to witness their great love. It was a form of crisis public relations. Many media reporters were there that day, live broadcasting the entire event, capturing Victoria's forced smile. A netizen commented under the videos, "Victoria, if you've been kidnapped, just blink or change your profile picture to Ethan's," and Victoria actually changed it. I was speechless. This woman has so much drama. I sincerely wished them a happy marriage, and that they would never bother me again. Unfortunately, they wouldn't. Victoria changing her profile picture caused the Shen family's recently recovering stock to plummet again. Only 3 days after the wedding, someone exposed Julian for working as a male model abroad, and even latching onto rich women to film indecent videos. Links kept flooding my phone. They were all large-scale videos of Julian from his parties abroad. Seeing all this, I couldn't help but smile with satisfaction. Luckily, my friends helped me. They found his damaging information so quickly. These were the grand gifts I gave them. How dare they step on me to climb to the top? And cancelling the engagement, if my presentation wasn't enough to crush them, then let these become their death warrant. Netizens were stunned when they saw this scene. They didn't expect there would be more to the story. I really thought they were genuinely in love. She can act so affectionate towards someone she doesn't love. Victoria, get a grip. They're just a pair of scumbags. Neither is better than the other. She thought she found true love, but in reality, she found someone who plays the field. I have to say, that guy really knows how to play the game. Most people wouldn't dare to go to such lengths as him, only Julian would. And he was still considered the Shen family's ideal son-in-law? That's already a higher starting point than many. What ideal son-in-law? Everyone knows Victoria has been kicked out of the Shen family. I was a bit surprised. Victoria had some shares. Even if she was kicked out, she wouldn't be without money. She would only get around 200,000 to 300,000 in her hands. No different from an average worker. Not to mention she would never be able to re-enter the company. She was so young, carrying such a stigma. What else could she do besides being a freeloader? But I was curious what else could be dug up on Julian. I had wanted to stay away from them, but I didn't expect Julian's scandal this time to drag me, his pawn, back into the spotlight, seeing my name, Ethan, plastered all over the screen, and even receiving hundreds of sympathetic texts on my phone. I couldn't help but sigh deeply. I had no choice but to change my phone number and live a reclusive life in Grandma Helen's old house. The rumors online intensified. Julian and Victoria were even photographed arguing and fighting by the roadside. I frowned deeply, so Victoria also had a side to her that involved throwing a tantrum. Where was her dignity? Married to Julian, they had grown to hate the sight of each other, but none of this concerned me anymore. I had Grandma Helen's old house completely renovated and filmed the entire renovation process. I became a vlogger. Many of my online friends enjoyed the renovations and offered many suggestions. When they found out I was Ethan, they all cheered for me. Still, Ethan is smart, staying away from all that trouble, withdrawing from the fray. But if it were me, I wouldn't want a fickle woman like Victoria either. The Shen family tried to make excuses for them, saying the two of them had deep feelings for each other. But I know Julian basically rose to power as the home wrecker. Poor vlogger, wasting 3 years. But now, his fortune will turn. I thanked all the netizens for their support. After half a year, the Hideaway BB was finally renovated, and I became an emerging vlogger with hundreds of thousands of followers. By pursuing a different path, I could support myself with the money earned from filming these videos. I hadn't seen Victoria for a long time, but I saw her again half a year later. I rented out the Hideaway BB as a guest house. That day, however, an unexpected guest arrived. It was raining heavily. I looked at the gloomy curtain of rain outside and sighed. There definitely wouldn't be many guests today. Just then, a figure rushed in. I quickly went to greet them. Welcome. Are you here to stay? I looked up and was shocked. It was Victoria. She had lost a lot of weight. Her hair was cut short, and there was a scar on her face. When Victoria saw me, her eyes turned red. Ethan, I finally found you. Why are you here? This isn't a shelter. You've come to the wrong place. My face was cold and indifferent. Victoria froze for a moment, then shook her head. No, it's not like that. Seeing her like this, completely soaked, and with the rain still falling outside, she was shivering from the cold. I still couldn't bear to leave her out there, so I let her in. I also made her a bowl of hot meal. Victoria quickly finished eating. She looked at me, her face full of hope. Can I stay here and work for you? No. I didn't know what had happened to her, but I hadn't forgotten my vow from back then. In this lifetime, I would be in a never-ending battle with them. It's truly unexpected to see you fall to such a state. Finish your hot meal and then leave. I'm not dealing with you. Victoria immediately stood up. You hate me that much? I don't hate you, but I don't love you either. You were with me to protect Julian, so your intentions weren't truly willing from the start, but at that time, I genuinely liked you. However, everything you did to me over those 3 years made me realize you weren't the wife I wanted. And Grandma Helen's death, I can never forgive you in this lifetime. At that moment, someone entered from outside. Ethan. The girl rushed over and threw herself into my arms, holding me tightly, looking up at me. So, did you miss me? I ruffled her hair. I missed you. Go dry your hair quickly. Your room is still on the 2nd floor. Go take a shower. I patted her, and the girl skipped upstairs. Victoria was instantly shocked when she saw her. You have a girlfriend? I shrugged, neither confirming nor denying it. Who said I had to wait around for you? You should leave. Since you're married, you should cherish him. No, Julian and I are already divorced. I just want to be with you. As long as you. I cut her off. There are no ifs or maybes, and certainly no future for us. Please leave. I didn't hesitate to show her out. Victoria looked at me for a long time, then gave a bitter laugh. I was foolish. I was stupid. I mistook a fake for the real thing. I was wrong. She muttered to herself, turned, and stumbled out. A moment later, a voice came from behind her. Haven't you seen enough? Then go after her. I couldn't help but chuckle. Little girl, what do you know? Hey Emph, I'm not a little kid anymore. My dad wants you to come back for dinner. Chloe is the daughter of our old neighbors. She just turned 18 this year, and I see her as a younger sister. She's always informal with me and often comes to help me out. Now, after seeing Victoria, she couldn't help but pout. So she was that old friend of yours. She's really nothing special. I smiled and nodded. She really isn't. Victoria never came back after that. Meanwhile, I received a call from Julian. It was a doctor on the other end who knew I had the Rh-negative blood type. They said Julian was in a car accident and urgently needed blood, and asked me to come donate blood for him. I just smiled, hung up, and blocked the number. Julian truly has some remarkable connections to even find my new phone number, but I refused. Only his death could truly quench the hatred in my heart. I'm no saint. He indirectly caused Grandma Helen's death, so how could I possibly save him? Later, I learned from the news that Julian had died from excessive blood loss. Besides me, the hospital had also contacted 3 other willing donors, but Julian didn't make it in time. I wonder if, lying in that hospital room, he ever thought how his selfishness once drove me away, and whether he regretted losing his own life now. I let out a long breath, living freely and at ease in the hideaway BB. A gentle breeze drifted by, and the wind chime by the entrance chimed sweetly. The person I've been waiting for must have arrived.